was. Forget it. I surrender. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, this is for Lance. There's a little confusion there. One of your coworkers, Henricksen, is here from No Escape, and I was wondering, one of my favorite films, I was wondering if you have a backstory on that film at all. Behind the scenes story?
Yeah, Ray Liotta and, oh God, Ernie Hudson is in it, he's here. Yeah, the director hated me on that movie. That was because before we started the movie, I said, what if we're on a prison planet? What if they could hit a button up in the control place, wherever the hell that was, and it would frag us? We would all suddenly, everybody in the colony would get knocked out. And he said, that's a great idea. That was when we were in New York or in LA. When we got over to Australia to shoot the movie, I said, what about the frag thing? And he went, I don't remember that. So immediately I thought of him as a, I don't want to mention his name, but like he's a lying hypocrite, you know, that just was sucking me into doing the movie, but nothing's going to happen. And every time I opened my mouth or did a scene, he would take his headphones off and throw them in the mud. He'd go, Lance! He just hated me, man. And then they cut the movie together and he realized I did some good work. So, but that's all I can tell you about it. We shot it in Australia with great people. Ray Liotta was great. Oh, Ernie was like Ernie. He's a great guy, man. I got lots of stories.
I have a question for Casper. What was it like shooting the confrontation scene with the Headless Horseman in Sleepy Hollow?
That was again an amazing experience because we shot the fight sequence for 5 nighs, and the actor that I was fighting with was not Christopher Walken. It was Ray Park, and he's an amazing fighter. He was Darth Maul, and he was Toad, and he's a great guy. Yeah, he's Snake Eyes, but he's an amazing athlete, and so we did that sequence, and Johnny did it, and I did it. We didn't have any stunt doubles for that one, so it was just a thrill. And then I had to ride the horse down after we did it, and I busted my finger up, and I had to hold the stirrups in one hand and this big weapon in the other hand, and get down, and the horse wanted to go the other way, and I had to go this way, and I had to get it over and go over the bridge, and then they had a mark where I'm supposed to go, and then I had to, the horse towed up to the mark, and I put my weapon down and I fired, and it hit the little X they put over the camera on the plexiglass that stops it, and Tim Burton came out and goes, oh, that was great. Let's just see if we can get one for safety. And I'm like going, oh no! Because there's no way, because the horse literally was the original Black Beauty in the TV series. So this horse was just beautiful, but really powerful. And he had asked me if I could gallop downhill. And I can ride a horse, but I don't know very many people that actually like to gallop downhill. I don't. And but he said, can you do it? I'm like, oh yes! Because it's Tim Burton. And so I did it again, and the horse actually towed up in the mark again, and it was in mud, so there was no difference in them. This horse was amazing. I looked like the greatest horseman in the whole world, and I owe it all to this horse named Sam. So it was great. I loved it. It was a blast. I looked like, Tim was like, wow, you really can ride. Yeah, that's me. John Wayne.
I had a question for Lance. What was it like working with an action legend, John Woo, on his Western debut, Hard Target?
Oh, John Woo.
Yeah, John Woo and John
I thought you said John Williams.
No, John Woo, sorry.
Oh man, that's a long story. He was a generous, wonderful guy. The first time I met him, I met him at Universal with a writer. And the whole story is premised on, if I give you, any one of you, $10,000, and I say, I'll give you 10 grand if you can make it to the city limits. And if you can't, you'll be dead, because we're going to chase you and shoot you. If you can make it, you got it. And it was nothing in the script about human nature saying, I want the money in like a money belt. I want to see it. So when I met John, I said, John, nobody's going to do this. This is bogus, man. You got to give me the money in my hand, and if I make it there, it's mine, right? And so he went, oh, good idea. You know, and then he started trusting me. And when we were shooting, he said, this story is about the rich shitting on the poor. Think of something. And walk away. And I go, what? Now it's on me, right? So I come up with, you know, I end up calling the guys, you're nothing but a bunch of, like, is any kids in here? No. You're nothing but a bunch of fucking buffalo, is what I said to him. And he said he loved that line. He just went, good, more. He kind of enjoyed that I was, well, let's put it this way. At the end of the movie, he said, you have to go play somebody good now because I got really worried about you during the shooting of this.
That's a huge compliment.
Yeah, he was a great guy, buddy, believe me. He liked me.
I think we all like you, Lance. I mean, come on. How do you not like him?
You know what? That's a hard one to take. This sounds like I'm kind of name dropping, but every time I got nominated for a Golden Globe, I didn't want to win it because they might say shit like that, like we all like you, and they'll applaud you and give you the thing. And Jack Nicholson will be sitting right in front with his movies, and I was doing television, so I would go, oh shit. I love Chris Carter, I love Fox Studios, get into all that crap. I just didn't want to win it. I just said, please, no. It's hard for me to take a compliment, that's what I'm trying to say. You know, God, sorry. Why did I tell that story? Now I want to run. Jesus.
I have a question for Casper.
Thank you, Casper, for that.
That's the truth. You earned it.
You started
You earned it.
No, you started it. No. What?
Well, when you came in, you were talking to Lance about...
What? Sorry?
When you came in, you were talking about the Starship Troopers book. How do you feel about the book versus your movie? There are a lot of literature nerds who've been upset about the movie, and a lot of critics who say that people just don't get the book. What do you think of the book versus the movie for Starship Troopers?
Wow. Okay, I loved when I got an opportunity to read for Starship Troopers because I loved the book when I was 12 years old. I read it and I loved it. So I was thinking when I got to read for this, I was like, oh, this is awesome. I can't wait to do this. And then I read the script and I'm like, wow, it seems different. But I can't believe when I was 12 I could get this satire. I didn't know that, I didn't remember the book, being like that, but I went, wow, this satire is really amazing. I don't remember it being in there, but I must have been a really cool kid to be able to remember that. And then I reread the book and I went, these are completely different. And I didn't like it because of the satire, I liked it because of the power suits. So, wait a minute. I love both. I love both for different reasons. I was out there every day going, oh my God, thank you. I cannot believe this is me in this film, in this production, and watching how it was done, and having Paul Verhoeven, who I idolized, and direct me and yell and scream at me, and everybody else was fantastic. And then to have Captain Dale Dye, going, Rico, go get the troops. And he goes, yes, sir. And looking over at the other actors sitting under the tent, some of them, but knowing that he's picking on me because I was Rico. He never called me Casper once. And I was in charge of the 1,400 extras. And so, it was an incredible experience for me. I had to go make sure that everybody had water. Rico, go make sure everybody has water. Yes, sir. Captain Dale Dice, sir. But I loved it. I want to, there's no way for me to, you can't please everybody. They're two separate entities in a way, but they're connected. So they're both awesome to me. I love them both. And, Paul Verhoeven was the guy that just gave me an opportunity. He didn't read the book. Obviously. And he said that right from the get-go. I want bugs, and I'm going to kill them in space. And you pretty boy, go. Kill them. Paul, come on, you really want me to act like this? Yeah, no, this is perfect. It's so great. It's great. It's fun. It's fantastic. Just do it. They love it. Yeah, Paul. Okay. Yes, sir.
I have one for Lance. It's not really a question, but I just wanted to ask if you could just tell an anecdote or a story about filming of Near Dark.
Of what?
Near Dark.
About Near Dark?
About Near Dark.
What did you want to know?
Anything really. I was asking for the sake of my girlfriend.
It's in my book. You could buy it, only we just
Oh!
That sounds like an idea.
The bottom of that is, but the trouble is we just sold them out. They're gone. They're gone. Sorry, man.
You'll never know now. You'll never know. The book is sold out. Good question, but you'll never know. Maybe you can borrow the book from somebody.
There's a lot of people running around with the book. You could just take a quick look. If you gave them $1, when I get to Toronto, I'm going to sell even more books. People are renting their book out. Oh, all right, I'll try, man, I'll try. After we finished Aliens, Bill Paxton, Jeanette Goldstein, and I, Near Dark only works because those people care about each other, because they're pretty dark people. I mean, they thin the herd out. I mean, some of you in this room wouldn't make it if they ran into them. I mean, but they love each other, so the movie works because of that. And Bill and I and Jeanette came right from Aliens and did Near Dark. And we met Adrian Pasdar and Jenny Wright and all these wonderful, and Tim Thomerson. It was a great cast, and we all kind of trusted each other a lot. And Catherine Bigelow, who was the ultimate matriarch artist, you know, she was the other vampire that no one talks about. And she still is. I saw her about 6 months ago, and she looks the same. And I asked her, "Are you a vampire?" Because she looks the same. It's shocking. Anyway, what was your question? You know what? You got to read the book. Yeah, I'm serious. You got it.
You wanted a story from it. I think you just gave him a pretty cool story.
Which?
He wanted the story you just said. He asked you, "Can you give me a story about Near Dark?" And you said, "A story." You really answered his question. Now he doesn't have to read the book.
But we don't have any, so you have to get it on Amazon, Kindle, Barnes & Noble, or That is so sick, man. I'm not that way. But it is coming out on iPad. Which means you can get it on your cell phone as well. And read it to each other. What? I'm going to give you some money for asking that question. Oh, God, man. I have told... Yes, go ahead, sweetheart. Save us.
Hi. I don't have your book, so I don't know if this is in there. But I always loved like Pumpkinhead growing up, and my sisters used to watch it, so I was just wondering like, how it was to film Pumpkinhead and your experience. That's it.
You have to put the mic up like this when you talk.
Sorry.
Thank you.
All right, because he's not here.
I was just loving watching you wiggle.
We were going to stop you, but you actually have to put the mic right like this. Because otherwise you can't hear you.
Alright. When I was younger, like me and my sisters always watched Pumpkinhead, so I was just wondering like your experiences from Pumpkinhead and if you like filming it and all about that. Because I don't have your book, so I don't know what's in there.
It's not in the book.
Yeah.
I thought that question was definitely going to be for you, man. I mean,
I'm not in Pumpkinhead. But I am a fan.
hey, the only thing I can tell you is Stan Winston, who I worked with a lot, you know, he did the effects. He's a wonderful guy. He passed away. He was great. And he knows Tom Woodruff and Alec Gillis, because those are the guys that did the bugs, you know, and a lot of that. But Pumpkinhead was really a personal movie to us because we had a fairly low budget and we had to shoot it in Topanga Canyon, pretending that we were in the Ozarks. And so I asked for kind of buck teeth, not because I think people from the Ozarks have them, but I wanted
So all of you that are from the Ozarks that do have buck teeth,
Please don't wait for me outside the doors. No. But I wanted to look a little more rural because I was almost as aquiline as him when I was doing that movie. So that's a compliment.
thank you, I'll take it.
No, and so I needed that, and Stan made them for me, and then when we got there shooting, I realized it was a very short time between the time my son gets killed and the time we have to show that loving relationship in some way, without it being like on the nose. And there was a scene that we improvised where I was washing his hands before we went to dinner, and I was telling him about his grandmother having skin as thin as tissue paper, and when she washed my hands, it was such a beautiful feeling. And I actually was telling a story about my grandmother, and the reason was to give him his heredity, yeah. And in that way, I covered a lot more of the bases than was in the script originally. And so because we did that, the movie actually worked better. Because it was a simple story, and then you had this nasty witch who was really responsible for all of it. I don't know how this story ends really, the one I'm telling right now, but it was I loved it. The only thing Stan ever said no to me about was, I said, I don't want to piticize myself in a scene. I said piticize, and he said, what did you say? That's not even a word. And I said, yeah, yes it is. It's a mixture of a couple of words. And he said, yeah, but the front row, when they're watching the movie, they're gonna miss 3 scenes by going, what is piticize? Did you know what piticize means? And he said, you can't do it, Lance. And I said, geez, Stan, this is the first fight we've had. But anyway, I let it go.
No, you haven't. You're still bringing it up.
No, you're right.
It's still there. It still hurts.
He caught me.
Hurts.
I have a photographic emotional life. I never let anything go. But anyway, we loved doing the movie. We really did. I'm going to tweet that. He's going to tweet it. Oh, by the way, Joe Madry and I, the guy that wrote the book with me, we are going to be doing a comic book for Dark Horse Comics. Yeah. But here's the funny part of the story. This is the funny part of the story. I wrote a movie years ago that it stayed on the shelf so long that it kind of, the type kind of evaporated. And I have ended up throwing it away. It was a full-out script. And now Joe Madry and I are going to turn this into a really beautiful comic for Dark Horse, and they've already agreed that we're going to write a comic for them. And then probably what will happen, I got to laugh because this is going to put a kibosh on it, but it will probably be made a movie after it comes out as a comic. So it's like stepping through the looking glass. It's like so bizarre. Our work is so bizarre. Yep. But you'll be able to buy it on Kindle, Nook, and
I had a question for Lance. You worked with James Cameron very early in his career on Piranha 2.